All right, we're back, and welcome to another episode of the Joseph Williams Podcast. And today's topic, man, it's a tough one. The whole racing world just got hit with a shock the day Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, was gone after a last lap crash at Daytona. Still doesn't feel real. Today's guest on the show is Jesse Williams. He is a long-time NASCAR fan. And Jesse, how do you feel about this topic?
Well, it was a rough day. It was February the 18th, 2001, when he was running in third in the last lap of the 2001 Daytona 500. The race is being led by Michael Waltrip in the car owned by Dale Earnhardt, and the second place was another car owned by Dale Earnhardt, driven by his son, Dale Jr. Just behind Dale, who was in third, was Sterling Marlin, and he was been all over Dale's bumper for several laps trying to get around, and it was uncharacteristic of Dale to just block others to protect those in front of him, because he was all about trying to win himself. But there he was, blocking those behind him to try to give a chance for the teams that he owned, Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr., to go on and win the race. And Sterling got a nose under him, and Dale come down to try to block, hits him in the rear quarter panel, turns him, and then he goes up into the outside wall head on. Seatbelt broke, and head hit the steering wheel. And when Ken Schrader come around after the cars had come to it, because Ken Schrader hit him in the side as he was hitting the wall. He was in number 36 M&M's car, and hit him right in the side, and the cars come to a stop down the infield, and Schrader come and checked on him, and saw, he knew that he was in serious condition, bad shape.
So he was blocking. You really don't see that much in today's NASCAR. Do you think those drivers have it in the back of their head what could happen if they block like that? Or
Maybe so. I don't watch it anymore, so I don't know what's in these drivers today's heads. I don't think very much is in their heads. I don't think they're very good drivers. The cars are very easily driven nowadays, so you can pretty much get the cars to do anything you want them to do. You didn't have to manhandle them like you did in those days. But I don't know what would be in their heads.
Okay, and you also mentioned about the seatbelt broke.
Yeah,
a lot of
made by Simpson.
A lot of people covering their channels after that wreck were saying it was the cars wasn't built as good. It was the safer barriers. They were concrete walls. The Hans device, he wasn't wearing one of those. What makes you know it was the seatbelt, and how the other devices didn't play a role in the wreck?
Well, all the other devices might help to make it safer, but the seatbelt broke, the steering wheel was bent where his head hit the steering wheel, and that was the cause of death.
So what do you personally think made Dale Earnhardt such a great driver, and what do you love about him?
Okay, well, that's a good question there, Joe. As you know, he won 7 championships, 1980, 86, 87, 90, 91, 93, and 94. And 2 other drivers have done that, one before him, that being Richard Petty, and one after him, that being Jimmy Johnson. But Dale Earnhardt done it during the time when the competition was at its toughest. During Richard Petty's days, there was not all of the things that they have to test the cars to be sure they're equal, to measure and do all the detailed inspections. So, quite frankly, Richard Petty just had a really, really well-built, fast car. I mean, there were races that he won where he would lap the entire field multiple times. There's no way that could be done when cars are all equal. And then you have Jimmy Johnson doing it in more recent years, and days where, as I said before, pretty much anybody could drive these cars. There's so many things that are computerized. If you watch them as they go through the curves, you're not having to work the steering wheel. It's just turn it left and straighten it out on the straightaway. It's very simple. So Dale Earnhardt did it during the day where you had, right there in the middle, where you had tough inspections, cars are equal, but you still had to actually drive the car, manhandle the car. He won 76 races, 34 races at Daytona, and of course not all 34 of those were points races, so they don't count in that 76. But the twin, what they call the twin Gatorade 125 races, qualifying races for the Daytona 500, he won every one of those for I think like 11 years straight. Won the 1998 Daytona 500. Has the most wins at several different tracks. But it all comes down to points championships, and he done it when the points championship was at its hardest to win. Nowadays, you can be in 10th place and going into 5 races to go, and still somehow win. It's ridiculous. So he did it when it was hard to do, and I seen him take a car from 17th to first in the last 4 laps of the race and win the race. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good. We'll be right back after a break. Okay, we're back. Going back to the wreck, do you feel like the wreck made the drivers at that time have something in the back of their mind, knowing that I don't know if I still want to do this after it's taken one of my closest friends' life's the best to ever do it, possibly?
Well, maybe so, but you got to remember at that time, you had just had a couple more die. Within a year, you had 3 die. Kenny Irwin Jr., who drove the number 28 Texaco Havoline Ford for Robert Yates, he died in a wreck at New Hampshire. And then you had Adam Petty, the grandson of Richard Petty, who also got killed within a year. So, and they continued. I mean, those drivers also saw fellow drivers die in other ways. You had the 1992 champion Alan Kulwicki, who died in an airplane crash. You had Davey Allison from one of the most famous families in racing, the Allison family from Alabama, who died in a helicopter crash at Talladega. But they didn't stop getting on airplanes. They didn't stop getting in helicopters. And after Adam and Kenny died, Dale continued to race, and of course he did get killed. But they racing continued. It goes on. I don't know if they've had any die since. So I guess they've definitely made the sport a whole lot safer, but they've also made it a whole lot more boring. So that's my stance on that.
Okay, so like you said, they have made it safer. We haven't seen any drivers die in car wrecks, but they're still coming out there. They still know. They don't forget that drivers did die in those wrecks, and I believe they continue to be cautious and do the best they can do on those wrecks. So I'm sure all NASCAR fans remember what they were doing and where they were at when this wreck happened. How would that be for you?
Yeah, I was at my house where my parents still live, and over in the Corinth community, and I'd not missed a second of a race in years and years and years, and I had watched that race in its entirety. When I saw the wreck and saw the things that were going on after it was over, even though no one had even mentioned the possibility of he might not be okay, I knew something was not normal. So many things, how the wreck ended and things, I knew something was not right. Kenny Schrader's reaction, the way he went to Michael Waltrip in Victory Lane and spoke to him. There's so many different things, and I knew. And so the racing's changed. It changed forever that day. It's been pretty much on a downward spiral ever since. And as far as how it affected me, I tried to continue watching it. I would try to pull for Dale Jr., but he was nothing like his daddy. I tried to pull for Kevin Harvick because he was the one who replaced Earnhardt in the Goodwrench Chevrolet. They changed the number in the next race. They painted the car, which had been black since the late 80s. They painted it white and put a very random number on it, that being 29. Put Kevin Harvick in it, and I guess I was closer to more like Harvick than Junior, but I even tried to pull for Steve Park, who was driving the number 1 car, driven by old Byron Hart. But there was nobody else out there like him, so I tried to stay in it. But I think the last year that I watched was 2003, so I managed to watch it for a couple more years. And with all the changes that was going on in the sport, in the name of safety, it lost a bunch. And then now the changes are not so much in the name of safety, but in the name of making the sport more inclusive, where it's always been just a southern sport that your country rednecks enjoyed. Now they're trying to make it more interesting for those in California and Ohio and places across. And so many different things has led me to where I am now of just not being a fan anymore.
Okay, and that brings me to my last question. It's pretty short and sweet. Do you believe there will ever be another like the black number 3?
No, definitely not.
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Joseph Williams Podcast. Goodbye.